What's good, YouTube, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going over Jump Force and whether or not you should spend the $60 price tag that the game has on it right now. So let's get into it. First off, if you are buying a fighting game, you know what you're getting into. You're gonna fight 3v3, one-on-one, whatever the case may be. Back and forth, that's pretty much what you're gonna get for a fighting game. Now, fighting games now have adapted some other things, like a hub where you can play online with other people. You see other people in the hub, walking around aimlessly, basically, with minimal things to do. This game's not much different. They have a hub, or a central hub, where people go in, they create avatars, and they can fly around on little vehicles of various things, nothing that impressive. And this HUD is a vast, wide open space with barely anything happening in the whole hub. It's pretty much, you run around in circles, and you look at things. Visually, there's nothing bad about it. This game definitely adapted a more realistic look to the game, which is kind of neat. It's nicer to see the characters a little bit more realistic. You can see Goku's hair is like all the strands when he's in Super Saiyan. He's got every little strand, and you can see the clothes fibers and whatever. So, you know, that's pretty cool. One of the things that bugs me the most about this game, and to some people they might not care, but the fact that all the voices are still in Japanese. All the characters are still, all the voices are still Japanese. The cutscenes, everything you see is all Japanese. Now, I understand that these characters are Japanese creations, and that people that play in Japan or other places that are used to these voices is just normal. But for people that play over here and grew up with all these characters from various universes, you don't get that. It's when you see, like, for instance, right here, where Piccolo's using a special beam cannon or whatever, and he's charging up, and we wait for him to say special beam cannon, it just comes out. It doesn't feel like you're watching Piccolo use a special beam cannon. And the same thing with Goku and these other characters. Later on, I use Yugi, and, you know, when he's using Dark Magician, it's just, it doesn't feel like I grew up, you know, watching these characters, so you don't get that. I mean, you get to use the moves, which is fine, but the voice, it just drives me insane. The gameplay itself is actually pretty fun, so, or at least the fighting aspect of it. You enjoy the, in this case, it's 3v3 sort of. Another one of the biggest gripes of this game is that you have one health bar shared between 3 characters. So, there's not a whole lot of reason to bounce back and forth between characters, because you share one health bar. So, like, all your characters take damage at the same time. And there's very minimal switch between attacks. Like, you can kind of use attacks from your other characters, but it's like one quick attack, and then you can switch, or, you know, like I just did there, Yugi used Dark Magician. So, like, there's little bits of that in there, but for the most part, it's just, you know, you either use one or the other 2 characters, and it's kind of, that's how it goes. The game, there's just not a whole lot to it. It does have its problems. Another one of the biggest problems I have with this game is the damn loading screens. Every single time, like, I purposely cut out those loading screens because they're so freaking annoying. Every time you do anything, you talk to an NPC, loading screen. You exit a battle, loading screen. You get into a battle, loading screen. You go down a certain, or you do a certain activity, it's loading screen. You gotta load, there's a loading screen just to talk to an NPC. It's just so bogged down with the damn loading screens in this game. It just hurts it tremendously. The other issue I have, and this is kind of like in fighting games in general, is that fighting games to me was always a lot more fun when you're sitting playing side by side with somebody that you know. Beating up on somebody, you know, that let's say you put a bunch of time in these games and you practice, and you have somebody over and you want to play this game, and then you kick the crap out of them. There's so much enjoyment over that. In this game, it's like you're playing with people you don't know, you know, from wherever. Chances are you're not talking to these people. You don't have a mic on, so you're just either trashing or getting trashed by these, you know, randoms. So it's just, it takes some of the enjoyment out of it. To some people, it's, you know, it's whatever. It's like if people don't care, you know, about that aspect, then that's not really a deterrent for you. So, in general, if you enjoy the fighting game aspect, if you enjoy playing with characters that you grew up, as long as you don't care that they're still speaking Japanese, then you will enjoy the fighting aspect of this game. This game is very easy to chain combos. There's not a whole lot of skill involved. I mean, there's a little bit of a learning curve. As these matches go on, you can see me getting, you know, learning the mechanics and getting pretty good at them. But it's very easy to chain together. It's just basically a couple buttons mashed all at once, and then you get a chain, and then if you time a block right, then you can dodge out of it, and then you can attack back. But then it could go back and forth, and you only have one guaranteed dodge that drains a meter, which is on the left. It's L1 if you're playing on PlayStation. It's an automatic dodge, but it drains out, and you can only use it once. So pretty much, you're taking damage back and forth, you know, until one of you loses the HP. And the matches go extraordinarily fast. There's nothing that gets bogged out about them. If you have the ultimate, so every character has an ultimate, most of them, from what I've seen, is really hard to get out of. So basically, if your ultimate goes off, 9 times out of 10, you're hitting the opponent with it. That's just how it is. Most of them are just either a charge up where it hits them into this animation where it's got you, or like Goku's, which is a spirit bomb, which covers a huge part of the screen, so chances are you're not getting out of that. And Yugi's is Slice of the Sky Dragon. That can be dodged, but it's hard to get out of. So, in general, the game I would say, is worth the $60 if you like nothing more than the fighting aspect and you enjoy just playing fighting games. If you're an average player and you're just looking for something to go in and, you know, put in a half an hour or whatever just to mess around, to play online, then I would say the game is probably not worth the $60, and I would hold off. If they patch it and make things a little bit better, at least with the loading screens, maybe it'll get better, but as a whole, I definitely would hold off on this game if you're an average consumer of fighting games, or, you know, if $60 can be pretty pricey for a video game, and there's a lot of video games coming out, so if you're on the fence, I might hold off on this until the game drops in price. But anyways, that's the video. Let me know if you guys liked the game, or if you didn't, and if you like what I had to say, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and I'm going to let the rest of this video play, but until next time, peace.